Imagine being a 3-time Olympic sprint champion, dominating every race you run, and suddenly deciding to throw it all out the window to try something completely crazy. Well, that's exactly what Gabby Thomas just did in 2025. And trust me, it's blowing everyone's minds. Curious to know what she's up to now? You've already got 3 Olympic gold medals hanging at home, and you're pretty much the queen of the 100 millers and 200 millers sprints. Everyone knows your name, and every time you step onto the track, they're expecting something spectacular. Now, imagine you've already dominated everything people expected from you, and you're hungry for something bigger, something nobody sees coming. What would you do?
The second fastest time in the world this year. It's a meeting record. Look at that, the first 2 under 22 seconds.
Well, Gabby Thomas is doing exactly that in 2025. She shocked everyone with her announcement to start her season in Kingston, Jamaica, at the first ever Grand Slam track event happening this April. Now, this isn't your usual track meet. Think of it as athletics meets Grand Slam tennis. Big stakes, prestigious locations, and events that demand versatility from athletes. This event isn't just about winning a race or two, it's about making history. What caught everyone off guard was Gabby's decision to not just stick to her trusted 100 meters and 200 meter sprints, but to step way out of her comfort zone and compete in multiple unconventional distances. Imagine being world-class at something and suddenly deciding you're going to do something else entirely, something you're not entirely sure you'll excel at. That's exactly how bold Gabby is being right now. So why is this Grand Slam track so important for Gabby's career? Well, it's about legacy. Gabby is already legendary in the sprinting world, but now she's eyeing a bigger slice of track and field history. She's proving she's not just a specialist, but a truly versatile athlete. And let me tell you, if she succeeds at these new distances, it will redefine her legacy entirely. She'll go from being remembered as a sprint queen to being one of the most adaptable track athletes in history. Gabby knew exactly that, so she made another surprising decision. She decided to train alongside Nikki Hiltz. Yeah, the Nikki Hiltz, the star middle distance runner known for crushing events like the 800 millers and 1500 millers. I mean, just think about this. Gabby's races last roughly 10 to 20 seconds max. Nikki's events take minutes of sustained, painful speed. They're worlds apart in training approaches. So why on earth is Gabby training with Nikki? Well, Gabby realized to succeed at these longer, unconventional races, she needed to boost her endurance massively. She understood her usual explosive sprint training wouldn't quite cut it this time. And here's the fun part. Gabby is openly terrified. She literally said, "I am terrified." When asked about Nikki's training routine on the podcast, A Touch More, with Sue Bird and Megan Rapinoe, she even joked about bringing along her training group for emotional support. I mean, how relatable is that? It's Gabby's way of being honest with herself and her fans. She knows it's going to be tough, unfamiliar, and downright intimidating, but she's diving in anyway. It's the kind of vulnerability that makes you root for her even more. This isn't just a slightly longer sprint. We're talking about a brutal, endurance-based interval routine.
In the end, the fastest woman in the world this year wins with the second fastest time in the world this year.
Gabby mentioned she's running between 2,500 and 3,000 meters every single training day, split into intense interval sessions. To put that into perspective, she's used to focusing almost exclusively on short bursts, 200 millers or 300 millimeters repeats at most. Now she's diving into workouts like a 6x400 meter interval session, which she admits is the longest interval set she's ever tackled. That's 6 laps of the track, each one at nearly race-level intensity, with limited rest. For someone accustomed to racing half a lap full throttle, that's like asking a Ferrari to race off-road. Comparing this to her previous routines is honestly shocking. Before, her sessions were high-intensity, short bursts of maximum power. She'd perfect her starts, polish her acceleration phase, and fine-tune her explosive speed. Now she's forcing her body to maintain high speed over longer periods, building stamina alongside explosive power. It's like being a short-distance racehorse suddenly thrown into the marathon. It's insane, but if anyone can adapt, It's Gabby. Well, at her core, Gabby Thomas has always been fiercely competitive, constantly searching for new ways to challenge herself. This risky shift to endurance-based training represents her personal hunger to evolve, push boundaries, and become even better. Gabby's decision is strategic. By expanding her endurance, she believes she can dominate not only short sprints, but also excel in longer races, something few sprinters even dare to try. Of course, there's a lot at stake. Endurance training carries risks for a pure sprinter, potentially impacting her explosive speed negatively. However, there's also huge upside potential. Building this incredible endurance foundation might give her a unique advantage in the latter stages of races. Imagine Gabby flying through the last 50 meters of a 200-meter race with more stamina and less fatigue than ever before. That's exactly what she's betting on. And look, this isn't totally unheard of. Legendary sprinter Michael Johnson himself was known for pushing his boundaries. Johnson, who dominated both the 200 meters and 400 meters events, often talked about how blending different training styles helped him reach unmatched success. He famously noted, "It was just really about beating people as badly as I possibly could," explaining how he constantly adjusted training to find new edges. Gabby seems to be taking a page from Michael Johnson's playbook, boldly blending sprint and endurance training in search of unprecedented results. You might think someone as decorated as Gabby would dedicate every waking moment solely to running, right? Well, that's not exactly the case. Believe it or not, Gabby has openly shared that she doesn't actually make all her money from track alone. She balances multiple roles and responsibilities off the track, juggling various jobs and commitments to create a life that's rich in experiences, and yes, income. Gabby isn't your typical athlete who spends every day, all day at practice. Instead, she's embraced a more holistic lifestyle. This means she's not just focused on one single thing. She's smart, versatile, and strategic, approaching life the same way she approaches her races, deliberately and courageously. Gabby often jokes about it, but deep down, it reflects a seriously powerful mindset. She's proving you don't have to confine yourself to one box. You can have multiple passions, multiple roles, and still be the best in the world at your main gig.
He can throw a blanket. Thomas is coming late. And Thomas got it. Yes, he has. Thomas gets it on the line. What a race.
Here's why this matters for her performance on the track. Balancing various jobs and commitments off track has made Gabby incredibly adaptable. She constantly deals with shifting priorities, tight schedules, and tough decisions. Her life is basically a daily exercise in managing pressure. When she's stepping onto the track for an important race, guess what? She's already mentally prepared to handle stress and adapt quickly to challenges because she does it every day off the track. This versatility and mental resilience have profoundly shaped Gabby's mindset. She views risks differently than your average athlete because her daily life involves calculated risks and constant adaptation. That's why, when faced with this enormous gamble of changing her training and competing at new distances, Gabby was ready. In her world, uncertainty is just another Tuesday. Fans, athletes, and coaches are buzzing about her decision. It's not every day you see a champion sprinter suddenly training with a middle-distance superstar and running thousands of meters in intervals. Naturally, everyone's curious, and maybe a little skeptical. Her fellow athletes have mixed feelings. Sprinters, particularly those who've known Gabby's speed firsthand, are intrigued yet slightly puzzled. One sprinting rival joked recently on Instagram saying, "Hey Gabby, save some stamina for the rest of us. Or maybe stick to 100 miles? Just kidding. Good luck." It's all friendly banter, but beneath that humor lies genuine curiosity. They're watching closely, wondering if she's found some secret recipe for speed endurance success. Meanwhile, coaches across the athletics community have generally praised Gabby's courage. One respected track coach noted recently on a sports podcast, "What Gabby Thomas is doing is admirable. You don't see many athletes brave enough to risk stepping out of their comfort zones at the height of their careers. This sentiment is echoed across many in the track world. People respect Gabby's bravery, even if they aren't sure it'll work out. And then, of course, you have the fans. Honestly, the athletics community is fired up. Social media is flooded with comments like, "I can't wait to see Gabby race these longer distances," or "Gabby Thomas is redefining what a sprinter can do." Fans love a good storyline, especially when it involves someone as charismatic and talented as Gabby. Her upcoming appearance at the Grand Slam track event in Kingston is quickly becoming one of the most anticipated moments of the athletics calendar this year. Will this huge gamble actually pay off for Gabby Thomas? That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Success in this scenario means Gabby not only performs well at the longer distances she's chosen, but also maintains or even enhances her explosive sprinting abilities. Imagine Gabby dominating the track at these new events, proving that sprinters can also excel in endurance-based races. It would set a new standard, changing perceptions about specialization in athletics forever. But we also have to consider the flip side, the potential downside. Endurance training is intense and very different from pure sprint training. The biggest risk Gabby faces is losing some of that trademark explosiveness. Sprinting relies heavily on power, quick muscle fibers, and precision timing, all of which could be compromised if endurance training isn't balanced carefully. If Gabby's sprinting performance dips, even slightly, critics will inevitably question her decision. So, what are your thoughts on this? Let us know in the comments below.